I just wanted a little harmless fun. A second-hand incubus from a shady corner of the internet seemed like the perfect solution to my urges. For $500, I expected a pretty face, maybe some light role-playing. At least he'd be someone to touch, to sleep next to. If he could do chores and earn some money, even better. It would certainly take some pressure off my life. But I never expected this. The moment I opened the door, the cold, hard press of metal met my forehead. The man in front of me had broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and legs that went on for days. But his handsome face was a mask of ice, and his stunning eyes, the color of a stormy sea, were filled with a chilling emptiness. His thin lips parted, his tone as routine as a delivery driver's. Your hitman has arrived. Are you ready to die now? Damn. This is intense. I love it. How did the seller know this was exactly my type? A trickle of drool escaped the corner of my mouth. The hitman, my incubus, narrowed his eyes. The gun pressed harder against my skin, and his voice was laced with impatience. So, are we doing this now or not? Oh, that voice. So deep, so commanding. I bet his moans would sound even better. I glanced at his impeccable, all-black tactical suit, then recalled the very unprofessional-looking adult films I'd seen online. It all clicked. He was role-playing. And he was committed. I wrapped my hand over his, guiding the cool metal of the prop gun slowly, deliberately, down my body. I gave him a look I hoped was both sultry and appreciative, and pitched my voice into a sweet, girlish tone. Honey, you're supposed to shoot me here. I pointed to my heart. Bang, bang, bang. His eyelid twitched. He snatched his hand back as it burned, taking 2 quick steps away from me. His gaze swept over me, from head to toe, a flicker of confusion in his cold eyes. That wouldn't be an instant kill. I'd have to shoot you several more times. Oh. My face flushed. This dirty-minded incubus, saying such shameless things in broad daylight. Just then, I heard my neighbor's door creak open. In a panic, I hooked my arm around his neck and yanked him inside, slamming the door shut. I shot him a playful glare. You can't say things like that in public. What if someone heard? I have a reputation to maintain. Then, afraid he'd think I wasn't interested, I quickly added, save that kind of talk for tonight, okay? I snuck a peek at his crotch. My face grew even hotter. Several more times might just kill me from exhaustion. But dying at the hands of a masterpiece like this? I'd die a happy woman. His name was Ronan Graves, and he was 6'4". Beyond that, getting information was like pulling teeth. Even getting his name was a battle. He insisted I call him codename 7. I joked that he could call me codename 8, but he just gave me that same dead-eyed, handsome stare. Finally, after I pestered him relentlessly, he asked if I was sure I wanted to die tonight before reluctantly spitting out the name Ronan Graves. This second-hand incubus was a real horndog. We'd barely spoken 2 sentences, and all he could think about was that. Okay, enough of that for now, I said, trying to get my mind out of the gutter. Ronan, can you do housework? That was the real reason I'd caved. My best friend's incubus wasn't just built like a Marvel superhero, he cooked like a 5-star chef. All my friends' models had their own special skills, cleaning, singing, dancing. The variety was intoxicating. I rushed home, opened my browser, and promptly fainted at the 5-figure price tags. So I turned to a shady second-hand marketplace, hoping to score a bargain. And here he was. My $500 S-Class, pre-owned masterpiece. Before I'd even finished my question, Ronan had picked up the bowl of takeout I'd artfully arranged on the table and walked into the kitchen. A few minutes later, he returned with a bowl so clean it practically glowed. Then he rolled up his sleeves and started mopping the floor with an almost terrifying efficiency. He gestured at the gleaming floor, a hint of pride warming his icy expression. Child's play. Can you cook? I pressed. Trained at the Culinary Institute. Can you sing? Like a Grammy winner. Dance? Like I'm possessed by the ghost of a pop king. Can you make money? Silence. Okay, so that one was a no. But with all these other skills, I'd still hit the jackpot. I struggled to suppress a grin and waved a hand toward the kitchen. Alright then, whip me up a 3-course meal. He made me a 6-course meal with 2 different soups. I stared at the ingredients, none of which had come from my fridge. Before I could ask, Ronan gestured with his chin, his tone flat. Eat up. It's your last meal. This guy had a weird sense of humor. As I admired my spotless apartment, I pulled out my phone to leave a glowing 5-star review. Ronan's voice cut through the silence from across the room. It's dark now. Ready to die? I followed his gaze to the pitch-black window, then back to him. He'd taken off his jacket, revealing a tight black tank top underneath. He was glistening with sweat from the housework, his muscular arms and sculpted abs on full display. He'd just splashed his face with water, and droplets trickled down his sharp jawline, giving him a rugged, untamed look. And yet, he wore that deadly serious expression while saying the most shameless things. I clutched the towel in my hands. The moment was finally here, and I was suddenly shy. I'm going to take a shower first. Fine, he said. I'll change into my work uniform. I turned, and heard the rustle of clothing. When I looked back, he was reaching for the gun on the table. Oh, no. Even if we were still playing this role, he could at least shower first. I could practically see the sweat on his shirt from here. Could you please take a shower? I said, a little exasperated. You'll make me smelly. Ronan paused, looking genuinely confused. It only takes 3 seconds. My simmering desire froze solid. No wonder he was a discounted, second-hand model. He was a 2-minute man. Or rather, a 3-second man. I was devastated. You don't even last 3 minutes? Ronan's brow furrowed. Why would a 3-second job take 3 minutes? Dude. You look like a god, but you're built for disappointment. How could that possibly tire me out? Seeing the tears welling up in my eyes, Ronan hesitated. I suppose I could go slower. 3 minutes is achievable. Fine. 3 minutes it is. But you still need to shower, I insisted, making my last stand. After he finally relented and went into the bathroom, I lay on my bed, staring mournfully at the new lace nightgown I'd bought in a fit of excitement. I'd never had much of a libido, but I guess age was catching up to me. And the one time I felt a spark, I ended up with a dud. I wanted to return him, but I couldn't bear to part with his other skills. Besides, he was already here. Just as I slipped into the nightgown, the shower went silent. A fully dressed Ronan emerged, holding his pistol. I couldn't help myself. Your performance is shorter than the time it takes you to get undressed. Is the uniform really necessary? Most role-playing scenarios I'd read about involved a distinct lack of clothing. How was he going to role-play anything in 3 minutes? He might as well just shoot me and get it over with. It would take less time. Why would I take my clothes off? He asked, looking baffled. This is my work uniform. I was floored. You've never taken your clothes off for a job before? Was this second-hand model actually a virgin? Never, he confirmed. His eyes scanned my lace-clad body, and the tips of his ears turned a faint pink. He quickly looked away. You should probably change. This isn't a very dignified way to be found. That's it. His mouth was as toxic as his performance was short. Resigned to my fate, I flopped onto the bed. Fine. Let's get this over with. My expectations for this experience were now so low, I figured I'd be cured of all worldly desires forever. The mattress dipped beside me. The cold metal of the gun pressed against my temple. Okay, he said. I'm pulling the trigger now. Wait, what? Oh, hell no. Indulging his little game once or twice was one thing. But this was just insulting. A surge of pure rage shot through me. I shot up from the bed, fueled by a strength I didn't know I possessed, and snatched the gun from his hand, throwing it violently to the floor. I grabbed him by the collar and slapped him hard across the face. Are you kidding me? I've given you enough chances. You want to roleplay through a 3-second event? And let's be clear, I'm the one who paid for you. You do what I say, when I say it. Got it? My heart was pounding in my chest. I glared at his stunned, bewildered face, which only made me angrier. I grabbed my phone, ready to unleash the most scathing 1-star review in history. Before my thumb could hit the screen, he snatched the phone away. I've never gotten a bad review, he said, his usual cool demeanor shattering. If you do that, you'll ruin my 100% positive feedback rate. Was he serious? A perfect record, and he was still secondhand? With this level of service, you must have paid for those reviews. I yelled, trying to wrestle the phone back. Give it back. I'm leaving this review, and it's going to be brutal. I'll do anything if you don't leave a bad review. He jumped onto the bed, holding the phone up toward the ceiling, his voice now pleading. I can do anything. Seriously. Just not a bad review. My hand froze midair. My mouth moved faster than my brain. Does anything include a butler outfit, a catboy costume, a doctor's uniform, and a pilot's uniform? With a chest harness, little jingly bells, cat ears, and lace wrist cuffs? Yes. Well, no. My raised hand slowly came down. I settled back onto the bed, a wide, satisfied grin spreading across my face. I patted the space beside me. You know, you're actually quite obedient when you want to be. I won't leave a bad review. Let's just go to sleep for tonight. Tomorrow, we're going shopping. What can I say? I'm a forgiving soul. The moment we stepped into the mall, Ronan froze, ducking behind me. What's wrong? I asked, completely baffled. Did you not get proper socialization training? I knew incubi were different from humans, but this was new. Worried he might have a panic attack, I scanned our surroundings. No, he whispered from behind me. See that guy in the blue shirt? Over there? I nodded. Ronan's voice dropped even lower. I killed his uncle. After last night, I was completely unfazed. I was pretty sure the people he'd killed were just clients from his previous role-playing gigs. The blue shirt guy was probably his former master, and he was just too proud to admit it to his new one. To avoid any potential drama, I sighed and tugged his arm. Alright, let's just go home. I can get this stuff delivered. We hadn't taken 2 steps before he grabbed my waist with one arm and started running, shielding his face with his other hand. That woman in the checkered shirt, he hissed in my ear. I killed her aunt. Next time, he panted, don't bring me out in public. Too many familiar faces. Seriously? How many times had this guy been passed around? The hand on my waist suddenly tightened. Ronan seemed to remember our conversation from the night before. He turned his head, his voice now laced with a pathetic desperation. I can do anything, as long as it doesn't involve going out. Please, don't leave a bad review. I stared, wide-eyed, at Ronan in his new catboy butler outfit. Those pecs. That sculpted waist. That perfect ass. And those textbook 6-pack abs. "So, you're not mad anymore, right?" he asked, his hands fluttering nervously, trying to cover himself up. "Mad? Was I mad? Your Majesty has no memory of any displeasure with her royal consort Ronan." "Oh, right. I think I threatened him with another bad review after he'd practically crushed my waist during our escape from the mall. He'd spent the rest of the afternoon on edge, and the moment the delivery arrived, he'd rushed to the bathroom to shower and change. The tail, it wouldn't fit right. So I didn't wear it." I circled him, my eyes finally landing on his rear. He must have noticed my gaze. He sighed in defeat, dropping his hands and closing his eyes. "I can try to put it on again. Just don't leave a bad." I clamped my hand over his mouth before he could finish. The mood was getting good, and he was about to ruin it by talking about reviews. I picked up the long, thin writing crop from the bedside table and tapped it lightly against his chest. "You will address me by my proper title. Call me Master." Ronan's breath hitched, his long eyelashes trembling. Whether from shame or excitement, I couldn't tell. His voice shook as he spoke. "Master, do I need to wear the tail?" I sat down on the bed, pulling my lace nightgown a little higher. I extended my foot, tracing the tip of my toe from his chest up to his chin, lifting it gently. "Get up here." Ronan, it turned out, was an incubus whose brain was definitely broken. He couldn't tell the difference between 3 minutes and 3 hours. The entire night was a blur of aching muscles and blissful exhaustion. I felt refreshed, revitalized. "So, no bad review now, right?" a ghostly voice whispered from beside me. "Honestly, you'd think I'd hired a male escort, not bought an incubus." I stretched luxuriously and pointed a lazy finger toward the kitchen. "Go make me a bowl of noodles. I'm starving." Clang. Something hit the floor beside me. I turned my head. It was his pistol. Ronan was running his hands through his hair, looking like a man on the verge of a breakdown. "Are you ever satisfied?" He grumbled something under his breath, but he still trudged obediently toward the kitchen. What a terrible attitude. Just last night he was whispering more, "Master, closer, please," in my ear, and this morning he was complaining that I was too much work. That familiar fire of indignation started to burn in my stomach again. Ronan was skilled and obedient, but his mouth was a real problem. And I couldn't keep threatening him with bad reviews forever. I needed a more permanent solution. Then it hit me. When I confirmed the delivery, wasn't there a user manual or something? Thank God I hadn't deleted the chat. I scrolled up through my conversation with the seller and clicked on the Incubus user manual. My face turned bright red. It was definitely a shady, unlicensed shop. Even the illustrations in the manual were graphic. I squinted my way through the entire thing, and just as I finished, Ronan emerged from the kitchen with a bowl of noodles. The moment he set it down, I spun him around and slapped his ass. Strange. Where was his tail? I was about to pull down his pants to investigate when he grabbed my wrist, his grip tight. "What are you trying to do now?" he hissed, his teeth clenched. I looked up, confused. "Where's your tail?" Ronan's face flushed. "You said it was poking you last night and told me to take it off." "That's not what I meant." "Oh no. Ronan didn't have a tail. He wasn't just secondhand, he was defective." I closed my eyes, recalling the second method for taming an incubus from the manual, kissed the heart-shaped sigil on his body. I yanked up his tank top and stuck my head underneath, only to be met with a wall of muscle that nearly suffocated me. I pulled back out, gasping for air. "Take the shirt off." The manual said the sigil could be on the collarbone, shoulder blade, chest, or obliques, depending on the model. I looked him over, front and back, top to bottom. His skin was clearer than my conscience. My eyes drifted lower. A hand slapped over my face, blocking my view. Ronan, who had gone from gritting his teeth to the brink of a full-blown meltdown, stammered, "I can't take off anything else." This was bizarre. An incubus with no tail and no sigil? Was he some kind of hybrid? Whatever. He was only $500. And there was still the third method. Just as he was about to open his mouth to complain again, I stood on my tiptoes and crushed my lips against his. If his words were poison, I'd just have to kiss them away. After a solid minute, I pulled back. Ronan stood there, stunned into silence, his face crimson. He then turned and bolted for the bathroom. This method worked like a charm. The third method was different from the first two. Pinching the tail or kissing the sigil was like an instant binding spell. Kissing, however, was about conditioning. Through repeated, forceful application, the incubus would develop a conditioned reflex, subconsciously accepting their master. And so, my campaign began. When Ronan slammed a pot on the counter, refusing to cook, I hooked his neck and kissed him senseless. He'd sigh, then start chopping vegetables. When he threw a balled-up shirt on the floor, refusing to do laundry, I pinned him against the wall and kissed him breathless. He'd sigh, then start the machine. When he stared in horror at the new outfits I'd bought him, I pulled him onto the couch and kissed him into submission. He'd sigh, then go try them on. One day, after a particularly long session of persuasion, he finally snapped. "You are the most demanding client I have ever had," he roared, veins popping in his neck. "Just give me the bad review." I quit. His chest heaved, his ears were bright pink, but his head was already tilting toward me. His lips slightly parted in anticipation. He was all talk. I slapped his chest playfully and captured his mouth in another fierce kiss. What was that you were saying? I couldn't hear you over all this kissing. Almost instantly, his lips softened, his body responding from memory, moving in perfect sync with mine. So obedient. 6 months of this, and I practically kissed Ronan's lips into a permanent pout. I stepped out of the shower to find him neatly making the bed. He smoothed the last corner of the duvet, then walked over to me, lowered his head, and presented his mouth. The bed is made, he murmured. I deserve a reward. I have to say, that manual was a godsend. The conditioning had worked perfectly. Now, if I didn't kiss him, he'd get anxious and start acting out just to get my attention. The manual called this the bonding phase. With a little more guidance, I could train him to say exactly what I wanted to hear. Why aren't you kissing me? He saw me hesitating, and his bright, dark eyes began to dim with disappointment. I quickly leaned in and gave him a peck. Then I remembered my plans for the evening, and my face heated up. Go take a shower. Ever since I'd successfully conditioned him, I had let myself go completely wild. We had explored every possible position in my tiny, 50-square-meter apartment. The other day, at a friend's birthday party, she'd whispered to me about a new feature for Incubi. After hearing her out, I realized my vanilla routine with Ronan was far more exciting. Still, her ideas were intriguing. I'd had her send me the tutorials and rushed home. Now that my period was finally over, I was ready. As the sound of the shower started, I slipped into my battle attire. I was about to play a little game on my phone to calm my nerves when the screen went black. Dead battery. I grabbed Ronan's phone to continue my game. A moment later, a message popped up on the screen. The contact was just a single letter, R. R, seriously, 7, when are you coming back? You really think you're an incubus now? My heart skipped a beat. Before I could think, my fam had already tapped the notification. The further I scrolled up the chat history, the colder my blood ran. R, what's the hold up, man? It's a simple hit. Did she have some crazy last wish? Ronan, just drop it. This client is a pervert. Every time I say anything, she blushes and gives me this weird, squinty-eyed look. R, stay safe, then. Ronan, I think something's wrong. She seems to think I'm from the Reverie Division. R, then just come back. Dispatch must have screwed up the order. Ronan, I can't. She's threatening me with a bad review. I'm a gold star hitman. I have a perfect record. R, right. Stay safe. Ronan. R, did you fall for her? Ronan, her lips are surprisingly sweet. R, question mark. Ronan, and her hands are soft. R, dude, wait. You're overdue on this contract. They're going to dock your pay. Ronan, don't worry about it. I've got my own rhythm. After reading the chat, I was practically dead myself. I swiped over to his files. A folder filled with rows and rows of black and white portraits. Only one photo was still in color. Mine. A quick search of the names online confirmed it. All dead. This wasn't a gallery. It was a kill list. My suspended heart finally stopped. My mind went blank, a wave of icy fear washing over me. Then, a voice from behind. What are you looking at? A jolt of pure terror shot through me. I almost screamed. I quickly swiped out of the folder and into the Uber Eats app. My teeth were chattering, but thank God I was already lying down, or I would have collapsed. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice to sound normal as I pointed to my own phone, which was charging on the nightstand. My phone's dead. I was just ordering some takeout on yours. I'm starving. Ronan stared at me for a long moment, then a strange, unreadable smile touched his lips. I see. He tossed the towel he was using to dry his hair onto a chair, then climbed onto the bed, pinning me beneath him. So, Master is hungry. She wants a bang, bang, bang dot. The terror gave me a strength I didn't know I had. I shoved him off me and scrambled to the other side of the bed. Ronan looked utterly confused. I clutched my pajamas, my face burning with a mixture of fear and shame. No, I'm actually, literally hungry. Ronan's eyes traveled down my skimpy lace outfit, then quickly darted away, his own voice sounding a little strained. Fine. I'll go make you some noodles. While he was in the kitchen, I ripped off the lace and threw on the thickest, baggiest sweats I owned. I wanted to lock the door, but I was afraid he'd get suspicious. A hitman would surely notice something so out of character. I forced myself to eat the noodles, then endured the torture of lying beside him in bed. When he tried to climb on top of me again, I squeezed my eyes shut and feigned exhaustion. I'm really tired. Let's just sleep tonight. He seemed to hover over me for a long moment before slowly, carefully, tucking the covers around me and lying down on his side of the bed. I barely slept. The next morning, I didn't even eat breakfast before bolting out the door. You have no idea how agonizing last night was. I chugged 3 glasses of cold water at my friend Maya's apartment before I could finally breathe again. I was so scared to get up to pee, I didn't drink a single drop of water, just in case he tried to pounce on me. I'd spent the first half of the night wide awake. Every time I shifted away, he would inch closer, the big lug, insisting on holding me. Later, I drifted into a fitful sleep, only to dream that he'd discovered my secret and was pressing that cold gun to my head again. His face was like a demon's, his voice a venomous whisper as he coiled around me like a snake. So, you found out? Then I have no choice but to. The sound of the trigger clicking woke me with a jolt. I shot upright, my pajamas soaked in a cold sweat. The space beside me was empty. The smell of cooking drifted in from the kitchen. Ronan was making me breakfast. My heart, which had been pounding in my throat, sank back into my chest, only to leap back up again as the sound of the stove fan flicked off. I grabbed some random clothes, mumbled something about having to work overtime, and fled, forgetting all about our usual sweet nothings and goodbye kisses. Thinking back on all the times I treated him like an incubus. The forced kisses. The forced intimacy. The constant teasing. I closed my eyes, picturing myself being drawn and quartered. Are you sure you didn't just misread the situation? Maya asked, skeptical. Incubi have really obvious features. How could you have missed them? She demonstrated by scratching her own incubus under the chin, eliciting a low, rumbling purr. Does yours do that? I nodded, my face heating up. He does. Just not from his throat. And not from his chin. She then tried to lift her incubus's shirt to show me his sigil, but he quickly batted her hand away, looking at her with wide, wounded eyes. Master, I'm for your eyes only. Pathetic. Mine had much better abs. Wait. That wasn't the point. Mine wasn't an incubus. And besides, Maya continued, leaning in closer, they have tails. And they're different, in other ways. Didn't you inspect the merchandise when it arrived? My heart sank completely. I thought he was a defective, second-hand model. It never even occurred to me that he wasn't an incubus at all. As evening approached, a new wave of fear washed over me. What if Ronan noticed I was gone for too long? I left Maya's place with a heavy heart. On the way home, she texted me. If you didn't order wrong, then the seller must have sent the wrong item. Demand a refund and compensation. What kind of shady company sends a hitman instead of an incubus? Tell them you want 3 S-Class models to make up for it. A jolt went through me. She was right. I could still get a refund. A refund? The door swung open. The cold metal of a gun pressed against my forehead. Ronan's eyes were sharp, dangerous, a chillingly amused smile playing on his lips. It was the same doorway, but this time, he was inside, and I was out. And this time, I didn't dare touch the gun. How could I have known he was a real hitman? My legs started shaking uncontrollably. I squeezed my eyes shut, digging my nails into my palms. Damn it. I must have left my chat window open on my computer. The gun pressed harder. Ronan's eyes darkened, his voice dropping to an icy whisper. Use me, drain me, and then you want to throw me away? Don't move. My trembling legs betrayed me, carrying me backward. Just as I was about to back into the view of the hallway security camera, a hand clamped down on my shoulder. One more step, and I'll put a bullet in you. He half-dragged, half-carried me back into the apartment. Just as he was about to speak, his phone rang. After a brief, flipped conversation, he hung up. He stared at me, his mouth opening and closing as if he wanted to say something. In the end, he just gave me one last, long look, holstered his weapon, and walked out the door, disappearing from my life. And I could have sworn, as he turned to leave, that his eyes were red. A month after Ronan left, I was still sitting alone in my empty apartment. I had no appetite. Takeout just couldn't compare to the meals he used to make for me. In the heat of the moment, I demanded a refund from the seller. They'd been surprisingly efficient, and Ronan was gone the same day. Now that I thought about it, even if he was a hitman, so what? He washed my clothes, cooked my meals, cleaned my house. He had great pecs, a great ass, and incredible stamina. And he was devastatingly handsome. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm just a horny, shallow woman. And I missed him. I missed the hot brown sugar drinks he'd make me during my period. I missed the way he'd rub my stomach. I missed the way he'd satisfy my every need once it was over. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got at my past self. I kicked the leg of the table in frustration. The whole thing collapsed in a heap. When it rains, it pours. I bent down to clean up the mess, and a pile of stuff from inside the hollow leg spilled out onto the floor. When I saw what it was, my face flushed. 3 sets of skimpy men's lingerie and 3 brand new sex toys. All in Ronan's size. Weren't these the exact things he'd refused to play with? My mind flashed back to the night I discovered he was a hitman. After I'd rejected his advances, I'd faintly heard what sounded like someone sobbing quietly, muttering something about buying this, and that, and how she'd definitely like it. It wasn't a dream. A wave of joy washed over me, quickly followed by a crushing, overwhelming wave of regret. I grabbed my phone, ready to do whatever it took to buy Ronan back. Just as tears started to well up in my eyes, the doorbell rang. I stared, dumbfounded, at Ronan standing in my doorway. He was wearing a semi-sheer, V-neck black shirt. The chest was cut out in the shape of a heart, the gap crisscrossed with delicate silver chains. A wide, choker-like strap was buckled around his toned waist, adding a touch of edgy allure. And below that, wow, that was prominent. I swallowed hard. This outfit was even more intense than his hitman uniform. Ronan kept glancing nervously over my shoulder. He noticed my staring and looked down, his voice a low murmur. Is this a bad time? A bad time for what? He knew I lived alone. Before I could answer, my nosy neighbor's door creaked open again. I reacted instinctively, hooking my arm around Ronan's neck and pulling him inside. It was a scene we'd played out before. This time, as I slammed the door, I couldn't help but ask, "Where's your gun?" Ronan stiffened. After a long moment, he finally answered. I'm not a hitman anymore. My heart sank. Don't tell me he got fired because he failed my contract. But I couldn't exactly let him kill me to get his job back. My hand, which was resting on his chiseled obliques, was about to pull away when something hot and furry was pressed into my palm. It was so soft and fluffy. A tail. An adorable tail. It's an incubus's tail, Ronan said, his face turning a lovely shade of pink. He wouldn't look at me. Once you pinch my tail, the contract is bound. You can't return me. He kept darting his eyes around my apartment. I suddenly understood. He must have heard that I'd asked for a replacement. I wanted to tease him, but I was too captivated by his new outfit. I squeezed his tail, my hand slowly sliding down its length. Honey, I've heard, you're my one and only incubus. Bang, bang, bang. The purr-like sound rumbling in Ronan's throat stopped, then started again, louder this time. He closed his beautiful eyes, a pink blush creeping up his neck. We kissed our way from the living room to the bedroom. As he gently pushed me onto the bed, I raised my leg, pressing my foot against his waist. I gave a lazy nod toward the nightstand. Go get that riding crop you bought for yourself. Ronan knelt before me, his legs spread, his hands held obediently behind his back, his eyes hazy with desire. I picked up the riding crop, tracing it from his chest, over his abs, and down to his waist. The air filled with the sound of his ragged breaths, his chest rising and falling in a frantic rhythm. I chuckled and tossed the riding crop onto his face. Tonight, I said, my voice husky, we'll start with this.